Hi guys, and welcome to another quick revision video. Today we are going to be looking at the Ulster Plantation, but we're going to be looking at this a little bit differently than we've been looking at our other videos. So this time we're going to look specifically at the question that can come up, question 5 section C, which is an account of a plantation. So you can see here in 2013 the question that came up was: name a plantation which you have studied and write about the effects of that plantation on two of the following: A. Political control, B. Religion, or C. Culture and customs. So you're going to pick two of those three options and you're going to talk about the effects the plantation you've studied. We're going to be looking at the Ulster Plantation, the effects the Ulster Plantation had on political control in the region, on religion in the region, and on culture and customs in the region. This question also came up in 2009. Very similar question for political control, religion, and instead of culture and customs, it was language and customs. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at political control. So the 9 Years' War went from 1594 to 1603, and this really brought the Gaelic Irish in Ulster under British control. Up until then, you had the O'Neills and the O'Donnells, and they were quite autonomous, quite powerful lords. But after they were defeated in the 9 Years' War, they began fighting against Queen Elizabeth, and who was succeeded by King James I. So they started fighting, and ultimately they were defeated. In 1607, the O'Donnells and the O'Neills left. This is known as the Flight of the Earls. And then King James I of England, he was free to impose his political control on the area. So our first point is political control moves from the Gaelic Irish to the British forces and government. So what was James's political agenda? So he wanted to create a loyal Protestant population to ensure he controlled this area. He wanted to maintain control so that he could receive money from rents, and he also wanted to pay soldiers and officials who had fought for him in the 7 Years' War. Another aspect of this is that the Gaelic Irish were displaced by 40,000 Protestant settlers or planters, specifically brought over from Britain and Scotland. So this led to the political divisions that still exist today. So when we're talking about political control and the effects that the Ulster Plantation had on political control in the region, these are the main points. The next thing you might be asked to write about is religion. So how did the plantation affect religion in the area? So there was 4 million acres was surveyed in Ulster to be divided up. Okay, and it was divided up between crown lands and church lands. So 20% of that 4 million acres went to the Protestant church. Now remember, this had mainly been a Catholic country up until this point. The Scottish settlers who came, these guys were mainly Presbyterian, while the English settlers were mainly Anglican, right? Both branches of the Protestant church. So now you've got these new churches coming in and automatically owning 20% of the land outright for themselves, with the other 80% going to the crown. So as we said, the religion up until this point had been primarily Catholic, and in 1641 there were 40,000 planters in Ulster. So that is 40,000 people of different religions. Okay, so you're taking this environment, this ecosystem, and you're pushing in this new religion, these new kinds of people. So the Anglican and Presbyterian churches were built in towns like Londonderry. Okay, but it sparked a lot of animosity between the two communities. So in 1641, there was a massacre of Protestant planters by the native Irish. This was broadcast all over Britain, and one of the reasons Cromwell came to Ireland in the 1640s. And the divisions along religious grounds last to this very day in Ulster. The last thing we'll be looking at is the culture and customs. So the language of the area, it changed from Gaelic to English. That's one of the main things, the language of business, the language of trade. The language of innovation changed from Gaelic to English. Okay, so new farming methods were introduced that we would have looked at in the Middle Ages videos. Okay, Brehon law, the law that had been in Ireland for 1,000 years, is replaced by common law, which was the English system of law. 20 new towns such as Coolrain are built, and they become a central part of life in the area. So now, instead of it being around the Durfin and the Ree and all these Celtic institutions, these towns like Coolrain and Londonderry crop up, and they become a central part of life. The courthouse and the markets, they're all held in the town. These are now independent of the Gaelic and Celtic kings that were there before. New houses came, so this is all part of culture, house building. So new houses, new stone houses with these bonds or stone walls became common. Also, business completely changed. The London business model was brought over and planted in Ulster. So London businessmen and companies, they were given land and they built towns like Londonderry, like Coolrain, and they changed the trading culture of the land. So from these three aspects, we can kind of see how you can answer that question. Again, it's a difficult question, but taking 2 or 3 points of each of these and just explaining how they affected the political landscape or the religious landscape of the area will really help you kind of answer that question. You always have to answer the question they ask. So take the facts from these slides and put them back on the question.